All right, guys, this is John from Untitled Tactical. Happy New Year, everyone. Today I have Will from Wilco Defense to my right and George Harrison on my left. Today we're going to be talking about some gun control issues that's been happening so far. And we're going to start with a great story that happened just recently in Texas.
So you probably have heard by now, Jack Wilson was on the church safety team in Texas. Single shot took out a shooter. Unfortunately, the shooter took out two other people in the church before he was able to be stopped. The point we were talking about here was having a safety team in place or a security team in place that's able to come and respond to a situation like that when we need to. And this just shows that that's a great thing. Without Jack Wilson and the rest of that team in place, how many more people would we have been mourning at this point?
Absolutely. You know, the bad thing is there's a lot of churches and even religions and everything that are out there that don't allow firearms on their premises. They don't believe in having, a security team in place. They don't believe in having a safety team in place. So if this would have happened at one of those churches, one of those establishments, this could have been a complete massacre that could have happened, all by not taking advantage of our absolute right to be able to bear firearms.
And talking about the rights, when we look into the shooter or the bad guy that day, he wasn't supposed to have guns, first of all, in the first place. He got several arrests in the past decade. He's been arrested for aggravated assault with deadly weapon. All kind of charges in the past decade. He's been in mental health institutions. All that stuff that will technically prevent him to have a gun. But you can get a gun anywhere. And going to the gun control point, that story right there, a lot of people or fake news, and I'm gonna go straight to the Washington Post you were reading. In the full article, like second or third page, they were saying, Mr. Jack Wilson in Texas allowed people to have guns with the health history and arrest history of this individual. He wasn't supposed to have a gun regardless. But what people don't understand and politicians don't understand is bad guys don't follow the law. That's common sense. It's like wake up, America. You know what I mean? So he wasn't supposed to have a gun regardless. He had one. Whatever, it doesn't matter how he got it. He had one, and he started attacking people at church, innocent victims, and we sent prayers to the family of the two individuals that were killed that day.
Gun control in itself is a big problem, no matter how we look at it. We have states like California that a long time ago, introduced their laws and everything, banning magazine sizes, banning certain rifles and things of that sort. Now we see other states that are taking up suit with that. We're looking at Virginia's, the Virginia State Governor, Richard Saslaw, who introduced the Senate Bill 16 and pre-filled for 2020. And the biggest thing that I have a problem with is the actual language that was written down in the bill itself. And I just like to go over a couple things with that real quick. Their definition of assault firearm. And I'm reading directly from the state website. It says, for the purpose of this section, assault firearm means any semi-automatic center fire rifle or pistol.
So let's translate that. There's a lot of blah, blah, blah on that definition that state wanted to put there to confuse people and get you to say, oh yeah, that makes sense. Assault firearm. They're talking about all my pistols right now. So if you own a Glock right now that you can attach a silencer to it, if you own a weapon that you can put a magazine with more than 20 rounds, you're illegal right now.
Absolutely.
And what is the charge for I think it's on that report too.
I think it said the violation of this section shall be punishable by Class 6 felony. And for a Class 6 felony in the state of Virginia, that carries anywhere from 1 to 5 years. And so that's pretty much at the discretion of the legal system, the court system that day, whether you be doing 366 days in jail or you be doing a lot more. And that's scary.
Yeah, well, I was kind of hitting back on the gun control thing. The argument in here, and again, going back to your Washington Post argument, they said the proverbial good guy with a gun, and they said, what would have happened if Jack Wilson wasn't Jack Wilson, if it was somebody who was less trained? And I think they made a good point, but I think they made a point for us more so as advocates than their point. I think all they just hit on is that if you're going to own and carry guns, you need to be skilled. You need to practice with those guns.
Absolutely.
So I don't think it's a matter of what would happen if somebody was there that wasn't a Jack Wilson. I just think if you're going to carry a gun, you need to strive to be Jack Wilson.
Correct.
You know what I mean? That's important. Because the counter argument is, They said here, gun control that includes strong background checks makes sense, as a majority of Americans understand. So the war of trying to keep guns away from people who shouldn't have them, you mean like the way we had a war on keeping drugs out of the people's hands that shouldn't have them?
I think it's just another left agenda, and the left is really strong into this. There's a few stuff. The NRA is working really hard. Well, NRA members here, then the NRA is working really hard for our rights, and stuff like this come up. Also, the Virginia case is being up and down, but the governor wanted to incorporate that. Okay, now you got to confiscate the guns. So there's several counties, and I don't know if you have the list of the counties. There's several counties that their sheriff were like, no, this city is gonna be a basically Second Amendment sanctuary, and you will not be coming here and take guns. And there's a lot of counties that incorporated, like established, we're not doing that. Now, one of the threats that came a few, maybe a few days, a few weeks now, is like, okay, well, we'll activate the National Guard to go and confiscate the guns. But in reality, they're telling us, get to that law-abiding citizen and confiscate their guns. And that is anti-constitutional, period. You can go ahead and check the Florida Division of Elections. You can check out the 19-01. It prohibits possession of defined assault weapon. And again, I continue to see this term, and it just blows my mind. Because if anybody have any kind of firearm education, will not even be using this term in this kind of documents. But like the definition he read on the SB 16, assault firearm, any semi-automatic pistol or rifle. Are you kidding me? You don't even know what they're talking about when they write these laws and stuff.
And the problem when they do these laws, the way they write the material for these is not only the fact that they're trying to take the weapons away from us, but they make it to where there's so many unknowns for the law itself. You know what I mean? And so to really introduce this as a way to even so many broad spectrum, so much of a broad spectrum for, okay, what is allowed and what is not allowed. There really needs to be some work done with this bill in order to make sure that they're not able to make this pass through. George?
Again, you're trying to legislate an item when the issue is with the people. We have people problems, not a firearm problem.
A gun issue, right? So going back to the Bible, let's go back a couple thousand years ago. Cain killed his brother Abel, right?
Absolutely.
With a stone. A few years ago, Boston Marathon. What did they use to cause the issue, the terror attack? It was a bomb. Listen, you eliminate the guns right now, all right? We sold on Black Friday enough guns to arm the entire Marine Corps, all right? So first of all, to get rid and confiscate all these guns is gonna be just like trying to control the border, all right? Or trying to control the drugs in this country, all right? But let's say we succeed. And this is I have a strong opinion on this and a strong feeling on this one. Let's say we succeed and there's no guns whatsoever. The bad guy will continue to be a bad guy. Absolutely. And he will use a knife, he will use an improvised weapon, he will use an improvised bomb, whatever he will use to carry his bad intention. And that's what people need to understand and wake up. Disarming this country is just gonna prevent the good people to defend themselves. They will not be able to defend themselves, period. That's the only real effect you're gonna have if you actually are able to eliminate all the guns from this country.
The bad guys are always going to find resources, period, point blank, right? So we need to make sure us as a law-abiding citizen that we need to be able to have our resources to be able to defend ourselves and our families as well.
I want to mention Germany. Germany have the some drugs legal, all right? So you can now, let's say, hypothetically speaking, let's say Walmart sell legal marijuana, right? Let's say it becomes recreational. There's some few states that there's recreational marijuana, and there's one that I was reading the news. They actually, the governor was the first one buying the first marijuana, the governor of the state, as the same day the law was signed.
He set the example.
Yes, setting the example. But again,
did he go back to work though?
I hope it was off duty. But my point with this is, it's a business. Tomorrow Walmart starts selling marijuana. Guess what? Now we're gonna have a bigger issue with prostitution. Now we're gonna have a bigger issue with other stuff because the big people, they're gonna use, okay, marijuana is not a business anymore, so we're gonna find something else. Let's do weapons. Let's do prostitution. Let's do other stuff, other invent new drugs or whatever the case is. So the bad guy, again, will always find a way to do harm. So with that being said, thank you for watching Tactic one more time. Will from Wilco Defense. George, one of my amazing instructors here in state law enforcement as well. So have a blessed day. Happy 2020, and thank you for watching.